I'll answer any questions anybody might have at the end of the presentation, so I'll basically begin now. Child sexual abuse scandals rock the Catholic Church, Boy Scouts of America, sports organizations, including USA Swimming, and of course the Penn State scandal. All highlighted sexual abuse allegations as well as convictions and cover-ups which shocked our nation recently. Penn State was extremely disturbing to me because it was one of two universities that I played my college hockey at. And then I worked hockey schools at the camps at Penn State for the next 25 years. And so this put me in contact with Jerry Sandusky and his group, the Second Mile. And they would oftentimes stay in the same dormitory as my hockey players, just on different floors. Now, since the Penn State scandal erupted, I've documented about 125 other sexual abuse or assaults involving coaches or athletes. And what was very startling about this is 60% involve coaches, targeting underage males or females. Olympic gold medalist Kayla Harrison was one of the people this past summer at the London Olympics who disclosed her abuse from a long-time coach that she had. And she took the stand as a 16-year-old and helped convict him to a 10-year prison sentence. Now, my book, The Dark Side of Sports, Exposing the Sexual Culture of Collegiate Professional Athletes, talks about coaches' sexual abuse, but more so than not, it focuses on athletes' sexual deviancy and aggression. So, as was mentioned, interviewed about 142 guys from 5 major sports: baseball, basketball, football, wrestling, and hockey. But virtually every sport is represented in these findings because guys talked about how they had friends that were swimmers and divers, people on the track and field team, golf, tennis, lacrosse, as well as rugby players. So virtually no sport is excluded from these findings. And you say, well, hey, well, this is happening at the college and pro level. You know, that's them. How does this affect me? But parents need to know, or people that have relatives or friends need to know that every type of sexual, deviant, or aggressive behavior that I found at the college and pro level was also found at the high school level among athletes. So that's a huge message for parents because this stuff is happening with athletes that are living under their own roof and targeting young daughters as well. So big message there for parents that needs to be given, and basically a very startling one at that. Now, a lot of people will ask me, what is my inspiration? What was my inspiration for writing this book? Well, I had firsthand awareness of sexual deviance and aggression during my collegiate and professional career, long before I ever studied this stuff in my PhD. Now, my PhD focused on, the research focused on out-of-sport athlete aggression, which was the bar fights targeting other males or physical assaults targeting females as well as the sexual assaults. But I thought, hey, the real story here is this sexual deviancy that's flying under the radar. It's not getting any media attention. It's causing a lot of victims, and it can easily cross the line to sexual assault. I thought, here's the real story here. And a number of athletes I interviewed said, hey, I had a desire to write this type of book, but probably won't get around to it, so I'm willing to help you by being interviewed. And so that's kind of where I'm coming from with this information. The book, as was mentioned, took 12 years to write because a lot of the findings have never been revealed in print before, much less with the population of the elite level athletes. And as I said, this begins at the high school level of sports. So some of the behaviors I'll talk about now that are highlighted in the book, as well as I'll relate some incidences to present day events, have to do with these hazing and initiations. Now, there's a lot more awareness about this today, but is it occurring? Most definitely. 80% of the guys I talked to knew about this, and over half said they knew about the sexualized hazings that go on. Now, this past summer, right up until November, I came across 3 separate high school sexualized hazing incidences that involve soccer players, wrestlers, football, and basketball players. They also involve cover-ups and coaches in a couple of these instances. So, this is happening within the last 3 or 4 months at the high school level, and athletes were actually charged with sexual assaults against their own teammates. Now, the big point of this, which I talk about in the first chapter of my book, if athletes are willing to target each other with these types of practices, well, what about females who are oftentimes casual sexual partners? How will they be treated is the question. Well, one of the ways that